Right, what I've done now, I've cleaned some parts up. I've got some parts that I need ready for the next part of the build. The fuselage is all glued, no problems, no filler required, all ready to go. So that can sit there. The tail is out, ready to be cleaned up. But now we're ready to start on the undercarriage. So I'll bring in a little bit. We're going to do the wheel wells next bit. So I'm just checking my references as usual. Should always do that. Making sure everything's the right way up. It's all looking good. Nearly. Trying to work out which way goes where. Right, that goes that way. So if we start her like that, and she goes on something like that, but it seems a little odd. Right, okay, it's that way. So the main thing we need to do with this bit is to get the glue in place, and then we'll put, just slip the part in. Now, I'm not sure how well you'll pick that up on the camera, but there is a gap there. Now I know that this part is correct and that gap shouldn't be there. So all we're going to do, we're going to get a peg gently on to secure that part. Then we're going to get another peg, wherever it is, here. Just going to lay a little bit of glue on the underneath, let it flow around, and hold it and just glue it into place. Now that'll make, when that's done, when it's glued, in about 20 minutes I'll take them off, and that'll mean that the wing dihedral is correct, so it should fit properly. So we'll let that dry now and get on with something else. So we'll get the tail, and I have already removed our tail parts, or the rudder I should say. That's correct. And just a little piece which goes in our rudder attenuator or accentuator, or whatever you'd like to call it. So that's ready, and we'll put a tiny amount of glue on there. Now I know that that goes forward, right, here we go, and that just slides into there, and that's in, ready. Put that somewhere to dry. I've already made up the nozzle sections for the exhausts. They're ready to paint. I've got all the parts ready here for the wheel wells, so when this part is dry we'll come back and we'll put the wheel wells together. Okay, so the support strap that goes across from the wheel wells is dry, and I've put the right hand or left hand, as you look at it, wheel well already in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use, I'll just sort of do that to save some time on the video and what have you. So what I'm going to do, to do the second one, to show how simple it is to do. So first of all we're going to just put some glue along the side, get our piece in the right way, and settle her in, or him in, whatever. Run a little glue across the join. Now the next part is going to be the long part that comes out, which is that part. Now that sits just behind the bit to give it a, where the, what do you call it, the undercarriage sits in. And again, just down the join. We've got one more piece for this, which I've just got to suss out where it goes, across there and into that bit. That goes upside down. And what we're going to do, that just literally slides in, and with a bit of luck I'll just sit into place like so. Okay, so a little bit of glue on either joint just to get into the joint itself. Push it up. Oop, don't do what I just did. Knock it out. It's never a good thing. Okay, that's looking good. Now we've got the first part of the actual wheel well, should we say. Just got to suss all this bits out first. That's not that bit. That bit goes up. That bit's for that. That's got to be this bit. Okay, so I use the tweezers for this because I'm a bit fiddly. And we lower it in. Just check to make sure she's up properly. Perfect. And the other side of the wheel well. Just to make sure. Seems as though I've got a cold developing, so if I'm snuffled, please forgive me. And that bit fits just on the edge, like so. So she's in there. Oops. Don't do that. And a little bit of glue at the rear. Also in. You've got a little bit of a gap there. We just gently squeeze the parts and the liquid glue will take care of the gaps. Right, so one piece to go on here. And we're looking at our part. Get everything into place. Making sure it all lines up. Glue down the edges, looking great. Okay, looking from the inside, got good walls. That's a little bit far apart, but it's not now. Yep, they're looking lovely. All good. Right, so what we can now do is go ahead. Now on the instructions we're going to go ahead and put the main tops of the wings on, but in the instructions it asks you to add a part from the A-frame in here. Now I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spray it up and we'll come back in, hand paint the little lights that go on the inside. Excuse me. For the navigation lights, and I'll show you how to do that with, again, with this stuff. That is ideal for what we're going to need to do. So we'll offer it up, just to see how good the fit is. And of course with Eduard, no problem, straight in. So I'll do the front first, just holding it together slightly, and we're going to run the brush with the liquid glue right up the joint. Now the glue will pull itself in, so there shouldn't be any issues with gaps or any glue not sealing or anything. That's lovely. I'm going to hold it together just for a second. Put some glue along the edges. I'm going to touch this. As you can see that, I can touch that there and there. I don't want this area to look glued, because that's where your landing flaps are. All I'm going to do is get a couple of wide edge clamps, or in my case pegs. I tend not to use clamps very often, and put one at the top, and I simply want to fall apart today for some reason. One on the end. That's all it needs. I don't want this area, I don't want glue puffing out all over it. If anything, all we're going to do is just run a little bit of liquid glue in there. That'll hold that area tight without forcing the area here to push glue up and look abysmal. Just one side. Checking again just to see how good we are before we put any glue to it. Oops. Having a quick check for the, got a little bit of a gap there, but that'll all sand out when we put it all together. So again, I just run onto my extra thin all the way along, getting the glue into the gap without doing that, if we can help it. And then we'll just level that up, let it go off a little bit while we glue the rest across the top, inside the rudder, or the aileron. Now a touch of glue just there, turn it over, and we'll put some glue. Let the capillary action take the glue right the way around. So again, we'll go for some wider clamps, one on the end, and one just on the edge, just there, just to hold it. And there we go, that's your wing section all together, all looking good, and we're happy. So that can go away. Now we have our fuselage section all ready to go, all glued, no gaps, no problems. What we're going to do now is just get some sanders. Got a very fine sander, this one, and just going to take any glue we may have spilt on it off, rub it all over. There isn't a seam there, so we're not going to worry too much. A polisher to get the scratches that we just put on it out, just like so. and then polish it all up. And that's looking fairly good. Okay. Right. And this one, we're just going to go right across the top. That's all we're going to do. We don't want to take none of that detail out that we've tried so hard to protect. Now you put your finger up it, and I can feel some glue marks, so I'm going to have to come down the side a little bit just to take them away. And that's all we're going to do with that. So again, we're going to polish her all up. Give her a good polish. Never hurt anything. Right, and then back with the white side, just to polish it. We know I've got no gaps, so we're all happy. We've kept all the detail intact, and that is literally ready to go. Now, the front part, I'm going to come in with just a sand and sponge and just tidy that up a little bit. The engine cowling actually had a split down the middle, so we ain't got to worry about the seam on that so much. This part we want nice and clean, sorted. So that's all sorted and that's ready to go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some more bits ready to go and put together. We have got somewhere, I'll put it, I have the top engine cowling, which is sorted and ready to go on. It just sits on there. Absolutely lovely. What we need to do is just to bend that in just a little bit to make that a little bit better. But because we want to paint the exhausts separate with metallics, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a bit of blue tack. Get it warm so it's very tacky. And then place it on the top and just to place that over the top there. Okay, but all this section here is going to be painted black anyway, so we'll let those all dry and we'll come back and we'll do the tail, the fin, the rudder, and get the ailerons settled. Right, so here we are, day 3 of the build, and I've still got my filthy cold, which is better than my cousin who was here for Christmas, who flew back to the States on Thursday and has severe bronchitis along with her daughter who has pneumonia. Not my doing, I can assure you, but I hope they get better soon anyway. Right, now we've got the wing section already. I'll give it a quick clean up. I've seen a couple of places I can do a little bit more to, just to take glue marks off, just being ever so gentle. So all we're doing is taking the glue marks off. There's no need to do the edges because they're absolutely perfect for a change, but you tend to get that with Spitfires, with Eduard Spitfires. Let me take you out a bit. So with Eduard Spitfires, they are that good. There's no need for filler. We've not used a bit of filler in this yet. And all I'm doing at the moment is just polishing up this ready. We'll get a new polish. I have got a new polish, I don't know why I'm using that one. Here we go, that's better. Right, so wing section's nearly ready. And we're ready to do a trial fit. Now what you will find with this, it's probably a little bit tight. So you're looking to adjust it in accordingly. So all I do is lay it on, match up the rear, and then holding from the bottom, just bend the wing and hear it clicking into place. Bending the wing gently, and hopefully she'll fit in perfect. And you heard the last click, which is always a nice sound, so that's lovely. And that's in. Again, there's going to be no need for filler, it's all lined up lovely. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get an elastic band. I've got a box full of these somewhere, just finding them. Right, so all we're going to do, as I said earlier, is put this across, to say, just to hold that, so it gets that wing join exactly how we want it. Now we're not going to use tons and tons of glue. All what we'll do, get cotton wool bud, just spilt glue on it, which is one of the last things we want to do, but because we're using this, I can let that be and sand that out when it's dry. So all we're going to do is run a thin line of glue right along the seams, and that will go inside and hopefully bind those wings together. Because we're doing this in a metal finish, any marks is going to be seen, so that glue that I've just spilt on the top there, as I said, warts and all, I will polish that out when it is dry, but just don't touch it whatever you do. Okay, so that's the top bit. Now we run a little bit of glue each side, run her through right across, and then we can push her in. Hold her for a few seconds, making sure everything's in line, which it is. Let the glue do the work as such. I'll slightly out. There we go. That's in there now. Both sides are in. Lovely job. As I said, we'll just leave that now. Let that dry. Let that thing I've made a mess up of that wing. Let that dry. I can get rid of those. Get rid of that at the same time. Just making sure everything's lined up, which it is, and we're happy. We'll put that to one side. Right, while I'm waiting for the glue I spilt on the Spitfire to dry, clever me, what I'm going to do is I've taken the clear perspex, or the clear parts off the runner just for the cockpit, and I'm going to mask them up ready for painting and get part of the windscreen up to protect the gun sight. Right, so what we're going to need, tools for the trade, a scalpel, brand new scalpel blade, razor blade, we've got frog tape, and we'll find it, if I need it, tomato tape. Now I prefer the frog tape, it doesn't leave the residue behind, but I found that tomato tape does. So we're going to try first with our frog tape. So I don't bother cutting it up, I just do it, you know, off the reel as we go. So make sure there's no dust on the inside, if we can help it. All we're doing is laying our tape on underneath a piece of framework. Then we're going to get a cocktail stick and just rub it through, just so that we can see roughly where we're going to have to cut for the mask. Just check on each side so I can get an idea. Right, that's that bit. Scalpel. Now I'm hoping you're going to get this. Sort of like. What I'm going to do, I've got a double light, I'm going to put right at the back so I can see through it. Now the idea is to hold it up to the light. Now I don't think it's going to work on the camera at all, to show you what I'm doing. But anyway, all I'm doing is looking through the light. I can see the framework of the canopy, and I'm literally just following the lines like so. Now that's as easy as that to put a mask on. Oh, hang on, it's not in very good focus, but there you go. That's as easy as that to put a first mask on. Now I go straight onto the other side. Oop. Line it up just like that. Get our cocktail stick and literally just to help with when you draw the knife. Now with doing this, I found never start from the edge, always try and pull it away. So all I'm going to do this time, I'm going to start at that corner. That's very difficult when you're trying to get the camera on. So all we're doing is dragging the knife round the framework and literally just, we're not putting any pressure on it, all we're doing is cutting the frog tape. And there's another one done. Right, so now we've got a bit more complex. So what we're going to do, we're going to line it up from the bottom line, which is where the paint will end up going. We're getting our cocktail stick again, and all we're doing is marking it up, just to make it so we can see what we're cutting. So the first one is along the bottom. Okay. And then halfway round. Don't go all the way, just go halfway. Oop. And then same again, just let the weight of the knife go along the edge of the framing and you'll get a lovely mask. Top one's slightly different. I'm going to treat that when it's on our aircraft, but what I want to do first is show you the glue I'm going to use again, which is going to be, on this account, crystal clear. First I'm just going to lay it on our aircraft and just check. Just checking how it's going to look on the actual aircraft and see where it's going to sit, and it's basically going to sit just like that, just like that. So we've got our Microscale Industries Micro Crystal Clear, which is my go-to glue when I'm doing any perspex work or clear styrene. Not too much on there, we don't want to put too much on, and all we're going to do is lay it on. Level it up so it's all good. Now, with this being a PVA glue, basically cotton wool bud, holding it down just gently, and then checking how straight we are and everything all the time. So we're just going over with a wet cotton wool bud or damp cotton wool bud, just taking the excess glue and leaving a nice fixed windscreen like so. And that protects the gun sight as well inside there. Right, so that's ready to go. I'm going to leave that glue just for a little while longer. And go from there. Right, so it's been glued for about 3 hours, which I'm happy with. But what I'm not happy with, and I don't know how well the camera will pick it up, can you see that big glue mark there? We're going to get rid of that because it obviously detracts from the aircraft. Normally, again, as I said before, you wouldn't see this. I'd normally do this sort of off camera, obviously, and you'd never know the difference. But this time I'm going to do it on camera. You saw me create the mess, so I'm going to clean it up. So here we go. All we're using is a soft sponge. We don't want to take the detail off. All we're doing is literally taking the glue off. So right, that's now, I think you can see, it's now taking care of the glue mark, and then we'll come back with our polishing stick repolish it up and give it a good polish all over. Now, if you can see that, oh, right, try to hold it. See that there? There you go. There's now no glue mark, and no issues with the actual framework itself. So that's that bit done.